naturally just fades out with crack a cold one. It's
I'm
State
telling
of
you, I really
Atlanta.
like it when they're like, "Go ahead and touch your toes."
Welcome back, everybody. This is Last Call. I was replaying our heavy metal intro for Tim and I while Ryan was.
That's not heavy metal. Quit
so
with
good.
that.
So what I called it when I requested it, I called it a rap metal. Is what
It's
I.
It's like
Yeah,
rap
metal.
rap metal.
AI rap metal. If I put AI in front of it, it doesn't matter because it means AI. It's AI's interpretation of rap metal. Is what it is.
I just
And
don't want
I
to make
think it's
anyone mad who listens to heavy metal to be like, that's not what that is, because it's not like POD is not metal. Like,
okay. Sorry. Rap metal is what we requested. All right.
That's
We got
okay.
it.
It's fine.
We
It's
got
fine.
it.
The distinction matters to people. My ex neighbor, he would care.
Oh, ex neighbor. Yeah, that's fine.
He'd come to listen.
I've tried. I haven't tried a lot, but I have tried multiple times to get a ska song rewritten or whatever. Not rewritten, but like get ska music created. And I've done like punk ska, like 90s ska. Like I've gone through several iterations to try to get something. And I can't get anything that's as good as what our intro already is.
I still think like just getting a bunch of genres and being like, just rolling out with like AI.
we can do that. I can go through, especially maybe that's a good holiday project on the time off. Just go through and try to get some hip hop and some rap and some country and some
I want the
80s
rap
pop. I'm gonna rap one. I did an Atlanta rap where I was like, you can't say specific artists, but I say Atlanta rap to kind of try to get like that. I'm hoping for like a Ludacris or type, or Jermaine Dupri or something like that. But yeah,
Jermaine Dupri, man, showing your age.
The mayor of Atlanta.
I mean, I understand. They had a what was that? What was his record label called?
So Def.
I forget. I'm forgetting now. It's unfortunate, but there was a billboard forever on Northbound.
Tim is saying So Def.
So Def. Yeah. So Def. What? Yeah. There was a billboard forever on the Northbound. I mean, it was them. I mean, it was so Def.
Wasn't it like wasn't that billboard like basically Ludacris with a fro?
No, I don't know if he was ever part of it.
I don't know. I remember like I feel like I remember seeing a So Def record, and it was just a guy with a big fro that's So Def written over it.
I don't know. Somebody who listens to hip hop like on a regular basis and listens to us is very angry at their podcast right now.
Dude,
they're yelling, they're screaming at it. They're like, "You sons of bitches!"
I want to see that demographic crossover. The heavy hip hop listening.
We got a couple.
Georgia State fan that listens to us. So
Aubrey's the game Saturday. I forgot to say that. He
snuck in
the club. He said he's been around. He just hasn't been around.
Well, that's the best to be. That's where we fail. Is whenever we sneak around, we make sure ourselves are known, and they're like, fuck, those guys are back.
He made the rounds. He came up to club, said hello.
We are really are.
Aubrey is a social butterfly. He does not hide who he is. He is everywhere, man.
But we are our own worst enemy, just for the record.
We are.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Oh, I think we do everything. We talked about shooting yourself in the foot or whatever. I think we do that a lot, just like with our drunk. I do that a lot with my drunk shenanigans in game.
You know what though? Like, it's not that crazy to like get drunk and then like go hang out where like Panther fans are hanging out. Like, I just like that shouldn't be a bad thing, you know?
Right.
I don't think. Look, I think we overstep occasionally, and we used to maybe a little bit more, and it was pretty accepted anyway, and there no problems came of it, you know.
You're just encouraging me. You're encouraging me.
I'm incorrigible.
I learned from watching you. All right, I learned from watching you.
I'm just like I don't know. Like we used to do it, and maybe we went a little too far, or whatever. But like it never really was that big of a deal. And it seems like right now, while they have fewer and fewer fans, is when they want to be like, well, you fans that we already have, like you should really behave.
Well, our viewership
in your lane.
Our viewership is going up. Well,
our viewership is going up, and their attendance is going down, our viewership's going up. So
Yep. Fair enough.
We're filling
that tells you what
everyone
you need
in.
to know.
Yeah.
Should we Ryan, you made comments about not boycotting games, but instead of going to games, just going to your new place and doing like watch parties or whatever. Should we do what Rec Talk did and just like record ourselves, like live stream us watching the games?
Oh God, I don't know. I feel like I'm really rough during games, man. I don't know, man. But maybe that's what people want. Maybe that could just be last call stuff, you know?
You're just distracted. His setup was good. I watched him do that for like the end of the Florida State game. I watched the good.
What about the end of the Georgia game? That'd have been a good one.
Fuck yeah. But
well, everyone was just asleep at that point. At the end of the Georgia game, I was like,
someone please win.
yeah, no one, even like Kirby Smart was just like, just fucking end this. I don't care who wins.
That was so great about it. It was like, because I didn't really care. Like, I mean, if you would have asked me who I would prefer to win, I would have said Tech. But like, I don't give a shit. None of this stuff's going to affect Georgia State or me or anything at all. I've got Tech friends. I got Georgia friends. There was going to be Georgia friends that were upset, or there was going to be Tech friends or whatever. Probably more Georgia friends. I did tell Kim after that game was over, I was like, Georgia may have won this game, but I don't think anybody's really walking out of here saying that they were the better team that night. I think that Tech did a good job. Tech did a really good job in that game.
I waited a day or two to make the comment, but I basically was like, who should be more embarrassed about this game? Because like, is it Tech for giving up that giant lead, or is it Georgia for like just sort of shit in the bed for what, 3.5 quarters? Four quarters, really? I mean, 3.5 quarters.
But 3.5 quarters, yeah.
Well, so I think I told you guys this on Saturday. I almost, when Georgia seemed to be really just rolling and coming back. Well, first of all, when Georgia was doing horribly, I tweeted out, is Georgia State going to score more points against Tech than Georgia? And then immediately, Georgia got another touchdown, and then the extra point to get 13, whatever. But then I started like, all right, Georgia's going to win this game, and I forget how I was going with my story.
Then they didn't win the game immediately.
They didn't win that game. Yeah,
immediately.
I completely forget where I was going with that. I was so wrapped up in the.
I heard people blaming them going for 2, and honestly, like I am like firmly in that. Like, you don't go for 2 until the math makes sense to go for 2, because like I know you want to get as many points as possible, but I really think the math probably works where like the more you score, you go for the high probability points more. Like the kicker is the highest scoring player on any given team, and so get them the ball.
Automatic,
right? Yeah. Like, get them the ball. So 1 point automatic, or like a less than 50% chance to get 2. Like, that's not good gambling.
Well, it's kind of funny. Like I said, before, like on Saturday, was if Georgia had not gone for the 2 points and just gone for the extra point back then, we would have never gotten to that. Well,
that's right, exactly.
And everything played out the same. We would have never gotten to that point because Georgia would have already had the lead. But it's kind of funny that Georgia missed a 2-point conversion, and then it came down to a 2-point
conversion.
Onslaught of back and forth with each other. And it's like, let's just. Kind of.
When does that start? Is it the third overtime or fourth overtime? Where it's all
second. It was the second one, I think.
And then it was just 2 points.
No. You score, but you have to go for 2, and then it's just 2-point conversions.
Yeah. That's first overtime you can go
do whatever you want.
Point after. Second, you had to go for 2, and then it was just beyond. And then it's just 2-point versions, which was like, I guess the American football version of like the soccer penalty kicks, effectively.
Except for you still can't tie. Like, you could just go forever if you keep doing it. It's very unlikely. I mean, over time that you would do that. I feel like 8 overtimes is probably like is going to be some kind of record.
So like,
I think
not.
There was more.
There was a 9 last year. I can't remember. Yeah. So the funny thing is, in the second overtime period, when Tech scored, one of their coaches put up one finger, and I was like, would the refs let you do that and then throw a flag and be like, no, you have to go for 2? That's it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
They probably wouldn't. They'd be like, no, sir, you can't do that. You have to go for 2 now,
Yeah. What were they going to try to do? I don't understand.
Just kick an extra point. when you
He
have
didn't-
to
Oh, just kick
I
instead of going for 2.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they had changed the rules. To just the 2-point conversions. Like
Yeah.
I knew that at some point you had to switch to 2-point conversions instead of field goals or point after.
right.
But I didn't realize that it got to a level where it was just 2-point conversions. And I feel like, obviously covering or talking about a program like Georgia State, we're not, at the highest level of talking about college sports and stuff like that. But I feel like we're a little bit more connected than the average Joe fan about the ins and outs of college football. And I had no idea.
I knew
had
it was
absolutely
weird.
No idea.
I knew it was weird. I just didn't know how weird it gets.
You don't see that many overtimes. How many
actually
overtimes do they have?
though. I'm not mad at it. Like, I know people complained about it and said it went on and on, but I think the likelihood of it going on and on and on is like probably lower than it ever has been, and it's fair. Like it's not. There's no sudden death. Like it's not whoever wins the coin flip is probably gonna win. Like,
and how great was it that it was a night game? Because like if this had happened at a noon game or even like a 3 or 4 o'clock game, now there's people all over it and you're still watching it, but it's interrupting all the other games, and that's having a problem. And how many people actually get to see it? How many networks actually stick with the game and don't switch to whatever, like, the other higher profile game? This was a pretty high profile game.
It.
But people complain.
That was
you could turn the game off. You could just turn it off. Check the score in the morning. It wouldn't have been like you probably would have turned it off, and it probably would have been like 2 points. I mean, whoever got the 2 points more is who's going to win. So it would have been a 2-point game.
I'm sure some people did probably turn it off or just fall asleep for that matter.
Yeah, it's fine. And the diehards, I have a hard time hearing you complain about it if you like stayed up and watched it.
When they first, I want to say it's when they first instituted the playoff rules, where it was just like you got the ball in the 35 or whatever it was. This was probably 25 years ago or something like that. There was a Tennessee Arkansas game that ended up going 6 overtimes, I want to say. Right. And yeah, I fell asleep on the couch watching that game, woke up, and it was still in overtime.
That's awesome.
Yeah. At least the 2-point conversion thing is like sort of a gunsling. Like, we're done with this one now, and now we're done with this one, and now we're done with this one. And like, I know 8 overtime seems like a lot, but it's not from the 35-yard where you're like getting what is that? That's 4 first downs that you can get, or 3 first downs that you can get. Like,
I was waiting for that game to finish before I started my chili. And so it did take me a while to actually
up.
You could have started chili.
So you could blame that game on your chili.
I probably could have gotten 4 votes.
You could, at least 4.
Well, if you cared more about the chili cook-off,
obviously, I just
think a lot of people said they voted for you, but they
obviously they were just liars. That's the only explanation, because numbers don't lie. So.
Apparently, when I opened the cup, I was like, "What?" I went back and looked over the numbers. I'm like, "Well, these numbers match." Shit,
beans don't lie.
How is this even possible? So overtime. I don't like the way it works. I think it's dumb. But what if you did your first overtime? Do whatever you want after you score. Second overtime, go for 2, and then the next 7 periods, it's best of. Alternating, like PKs. Like, instead of like you win the whole thing after 1 round, you have to win by outscoring the other opponent. Same rule, 2-point conversions, but just you alternate back and forth. You're not out of the game if you just screw up on your first one. I just don't like how that works.
It sort of effectively is that, isn't it?
No, because you could miss your first one and then keep going to the second round and make it. And if
if they miss first too,
right? But each round you add it to the score, like PKs in soccer.
Yeah. So more like penalty kicks.
Yes.
Well, all right. So how about we do, instead of that, after your first or second round of overtime, you set your kicker up at the 35 and just back them up 5 yards every single time until they miss, and see which.
I don't want to leave a football game up to the kickers.
I don't want to leave a football game up to the scoring with your foot. That would be a horrible idea.
Well, I mean, but they are weirdly the only player on the team who's not really a football player. I know I'm going to get some flack for that, but
they're not a football player.
I mean, they are very technically, but like their skill set is so different. It's so completely different than everybody else because it's not really football. Like
I think that quarterbacks should be the kickers.
Well, if we would have been awesome with Bo Schlechter then. That would have been great.
Perfect.
But how great would that be if you have a specialist, like, all right, cool, like this is a specialist position, and so it's part of make it part of the off instead of having special teams necessarily, for punting or for kicking, that's the quarterback is the one that takes the snap and he kicks the ball or he punts the ball, whatever.
That's
make
a lot
the
of roles to serve. Oof.
Fuck it, make it more fun. I mean, I know when you do it the way it is now, you've got the absolute best kickers in the world as people dedicate their entire everything about just kicking the ball. But seriously, these guys get, the successful guys get 6 or 7 years. I mean, the really successful guys get 20 years. But so many kickers are out after just a handful of years, and they're considered good. They just get priced out because the NFL salary minimums. Like, well, you're not worth $1 million.
Because they're not worth it.
You're not worth you're not worth $1 million a year. We can get somebody else in here
we can just go get a rookie in here, and he might like drop 2%, but like whatever, that's fine. We win by more than that.
So while we're talking about kickers, so the Falcons should just like cut Koo, right?
Of course, yeah, 100%.
Every miss in that game was like, get rid of him, get rid of him, get rid of him.
You know what? Every make, I'm like, get rid of him.
I'm the same way. He has kicked game-winning field goals, and I put in my Falcons chat, time to cut him. And I'm finally
he's having
some people are coming around. Some people in my group are coming around. Like, yeah, maybe this isn't the guy for us.
He's injured right now though, so like,
does he have the
perfect time to cut him?
Does he have the herp from Statesboro or something?
Yeah, he went down to the drainage ditch and drank the water.
What you got to do is bring somebody in right now while he's sitting down. And then somebody who's going to play better. Yeah, Will Lutz. I'm saying Will Lutz. And let him outkick and just be like, sorry, Koo, you lost your spot.
Go back to Statesboro.
Shouldn't have got hurt, fella.
Asshole.
Shouldn't have been from Statesboro, fella.
Make better decisions in your life. Oh, I mean, so we didn't even talk about signing day being tomorrow.
It's signing day tomorrow.
Fine. Recruiting is garbage. So
it is.
Who the fuck knows what any of it means? So it's good.
We didn't acknowledge that there was going to be signing day at all. I meant to at least say
we're doing it right now. We're good.
But I saw the reason why I thought about it was I saw a couple of guys that were posting like, I'll be announcing my decisions tomorrow. Blah 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 blah. And they list their schools and they've got Georgia State and Trash Down South, and I'm kind of like, I don't even really want you if you're going to be like entertaining them at all. Like, if you're entertaining them, then you're not the kind of Panther that I want.
David, the thing is, they're children. I mean, that's the reason we shouldn't even care about any of it. Is like, who the hell knows how any of them are going to pan out? They're children. They're making poor decisions. They want to go to Georgia. They might want to go to the Trash Down South because it's a party school. Like, I mean, when I was growing up, you went to TDS because it was fun, and I was told that. But I was like, I don't really want fun. I want a good education, so I went somewhere else.
When I started, my freshman year was at Southern Tech, which became Southern Polytechnic, which became Kennesaw Tech or whatever the fuck they call it now.
It's Kennesaw State. It's the South Campus, I think.
Yeah,
Kennesaw State South. Yeah,
I think it's South or Marietta Campus, maybe, because Kennesaw is in Kennesaw.
There was like some like intro to college class that everybody had. It was only like for like 1 credit or 2 credits.
Yeah, I remember.
But it was
we had GSU 1010, so
it was a mandatory class. It counted towards shit, but it was mandatory class, right? I think, and I didn't really know much about Georgia Southern, Trash Down South at that point. I didn't really pay attention to the college sports or anything at that time, and I remember like the guy coming out talking about like the importance of like being here and doing this, whatever. And he's like, I know you get a friend of yours, you kind of like dangles a beer in front of you and make you want to go, whatever.
It's like, what?
And then he's like, unless you're from Georgia Southern and then they hang a 6-pack in front of you or whatever. And I was like, so my first ever inkling about anything Georgia Southern was just like,
Beer.
oh, they're big drinkers.
It's
and
party
you think
school.
yeah, it is a party school.
And that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Their education is nothing to brag about, for sure.
And you know what? For some folks, that's going to be fine, but it shouldn't be.
For a lot of for a lot of jobs, it doesn't matter where that diploma came from. Hell, that's why you've got so many online schools and crap like that out there. Your University of Phoenixes and your DeVrys and your other shit.
Or no school anymore.
It's funny. I think my
anymore.
second job search, I was I sent my resume out to a couple places. One of my interviews were like, "Oh, I see here you went to Georgia Tech," and I just rolled with it.
And you're like, "Yep."
I just was like, "Yep," and just told them about my experience at Georgia Tech.
You can't read, but I will
whatever.
continue down this path.
Well, living downtown had a lot of advantages to it. I got to be a diverse group of classmates, and
I did not correct, and but I knew my resume said Georgia State, so I was like, that's your fault, not mine. I didn't get that job.
I really enjoyed being close to diverse entertainment at Georgia Tech. Yes.
Gotta love those naked dogs walking in the frosted orange.
What?
No, I was going to a little bit.
That's varsity order. It means a plain hot dog with frosted orange.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I was going.
Varsity is garbage.
I haven't had varsity in. Can't even tell you when. Which is
I know why, Tim. Why, Tim?
Because it's terrible.
Because it's terrible. Those French fries are really good if you're like super hungover. Just like you just take them in one big clump and you just like shovel them in your mouth, and they're great. But everything else there is really garbage, and even those fries are garbage when you're not hungover.
So when you're dehydrated, or so when you're hungover, you're not dehydrated. You're lacking in oil and fat.
Yes,
that's
you need all the oils and fats.
That's what
and potatoes.
It had to be 12 or 13 years ago is the last time I've been to varsity.
Wow.
Yeah. I was working out of an office in the Bank of America building for a little while, and I would go to varsity every now and again, maybe like once a month on Wednesdays after this podcast.
Be like, why did I do this to myself?
After this podcast, I'd go into work hungover, and I'd be like, I need varsity. Varsity is what I want.
I knew a girl who was not big of a tailgater, but she loved the Braves, and this back in Turner Field days, and she had to have varsity on her way to the game. And I'm like, this is the worst time to have it going into a game.
That's a dangerous proposal right there. That could have backfired completely. Ooh.
Yeah, not
you
good.
You get to one of those bathrooms and all the stalls were filled after you had varsity. Ooh, that's dangerous.
Yeah. So to each their own, right? All right. I think we're good here.
Let's wrap up. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll talk to you guys next week. I'll be a year older. Say goodbye, Ryan.
Goodbye, Ryan.
Goodbye,
Say goodbye, Tim.
Goodbye, Tim.
I don't know why I said that.
Say goodbye, David.